If I stumble a little bit today, it's because I just left my eye doctor's office, so bear with me. This is a regular scheduled public hearing of the Metropolitan Planning Commission. Please turn off all cell phones while the board is in session. If you wish to speak for or against an application, we have slips at the speaker stand next to the podium. For future notification purposes, it is very important that you fill out a slip and drop it in the box when you come forward to speak. Please state your full name, mailing address, and zip code before addressing the board. We will call each case on the agenda in order and hear first from the applicant, then those speaking in favor. 10 minutes are allotted for the principal spokesperson and 3 minutes for each additional speaker. We will then hear from those wishing to speak against an application. Again, 10 minutes are allotted for the principal spokesperson and 3 minutes for each additional speaker. One representative of the application can then speak in rebuttal if desired. After hearing comments on each case, the board will then immediately deliberate and vote on that case before moving on to the next case on our agenda. Please note that when the board is deliberating, members of the public are not permitted to comment. A written notice of the decision will be mailed to all applicants. Any member of the public may request decisions and information on a particular case by contacting our office at 318-673-6480 after 12 noon tomorrow, or by accessing our website at ShreveportCaddoMPC.com. Any member of the public may also register to receive notification for our MPC meetings and agendas by clicking on the Notify Me icon on our website. If you wish to comment on an item that is not on the agenda, you will be permitted 3 minutes at the end of the public hearing. If you are not sure whether the item you are interested in is included on today's agenda, please include this question on a slip that you place in the box. The staff will ensure that you are provided an opportunity to address the board at the proper time. All of our decisions are subject to appeal to either the City Council or the Parish Commission, depending on the location of the property in question. If your application is appealed or requires final approval by the governing body, you are advised to contact your City Councilman or Parish Commissioner at your earliest convenience. Please note that it is your responsibility to contact the appropriate governing body about their procedures as related to the matter you are concerned with. Copies of this monologue providing follow-up information on the zoning process and phone numbers to contact that governing bodies are available on the table next to the podium and in the entryway to this room. Now, with these opening remarks, I want to first start with a clarification, and that is, just in case someone are here for this particular case, case number C44-14 that deals with 740 and 742 Piermont, the Circle K Stores Incorporated, Leslie Turk, Paul Windsor, and Clinton Jones applicant. This particular case will not be heard today, but will be heard in our September meeting. Okay? Just in case someone is here for case number C44-14. Okay? And now we'll hear from Stephen Jean relative to the master plan implementation update, if you have anything, Stephen.
Yes, I do. I just want to let you know that we're still tracking well on our Unified Development Code. I'll be having a call tomorrow with a consultant, and we have been working with the advisory committee that's primarily comprised of staff. That we review the first draft. We put together a series of meetings. We're going to be breaking down the code by chapter, have working groups begin to look at the first drafts before it goes public. And so just be looking for issues where we just see some things that they need to work on. And then we'll have a series of public meetings at a later date. We'll announce those. But we're going to be just making sure that what we see at the beginning is consistent with the approaches report and what the stakeholders have told us they needed to be in the plan. So we'll be keeping you updated on that as it moves forward, and then give you the dates, the firm dates when we actually do have the public review of the code. But we are moving along and making good progress.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any questions or comment from the board? Okay. If none, we'll go into our first case number SC 25-14, Motor Finance Company, LLC.
Mr. Chair, may I?
Yeah.
While they're coming to the podium, Mr. Jean, I believe, is this appropriate time to make the recognizing two people?
I think it probably would be a good time if you
Would you give us a few seconds? Mr. Jean, you have the floor.
Yes.
Thank you for your...
I would like
Okay,
to approach
not
the
a problem.
podium if you don't mind.
Yes, go to the podium, please. No? Yes, maybe. I'm the secretary. It's my job to keep everything in order.
Mr. Chair, I'm actually approaching this to address you specifically. Your peers that are set up there in the dais with you wanted to be sure that I honored you for your many years of service and to also chastise you for dropping that bomb on them last week, that you would be retiring from this body. And we just want to say, as we often have in times past, a lunch isn't quite enough pay for all the work that you've gone through. We've had many issues in front of this board that have been very tough decisions, and we've had a lot of work that goes unseen behind the scenes by persons of yourself. We appreciate a lot of the hard work that you've done, and matter of fact, a lot of hard work that you've done over the last couple of days just preparing for this meeting. A lot of people don't realize what kind of commitment that public servants make, especially on this board. It's voluntary. You do it because you have a passion for this community. And just we as staff and as board want to salute you for all your years of service and want to make sure that you stay in contact with us. And we're going to do something a little bit more formal later on, but since you surprised us, we thought we'd surprise you.
Okay. All right.
So thank you very much for your service. And one other announcement, did we not able to get her down for this? We have a retiree. We may have to actually get her down in the room because she's busy working right now with cases. But I mentioned this once before. But Miss Ione Dean, and she jokingly with me that she started when she was in middle school, has been with the MPC for over 40 years. When she first approached me with contemplating retirement, I will have to tell you that it literally took my breath away. There is an enormous amount of institutional knowledge that is about to walk out the door. We've done our best to try to glean from her in the recent months since she's told us about her retirement. But she's going to be a hole that's not going to be very easily filled. And we want to do something. We're going to be doing something a little bit more formal at another time. But since that she's going to be gone at the end of next week, and we thought we'd make sure we would at least be able to say something today about these many years of service. She was actually quite shy. She didn't really want us to do anything about this today. But we felt like that we would be remiss as a board and as a staff, but not publicly talking about Miss Dean and all the things that she's done for us through the years. And one of the things I will tell you that in talking to applicants, that Miss Dean always goes out of her way to explain a very complicated process at times in an ordinance that sometimes is very difficult to understand. And she spends a lot of time, and she's very patient. And I've watched her on many occasions where she will sit down and go the extra mile with applicants. And you, until recently, when Mr. Mims, you've seen her down here running the document camera and answering questions regarding the intake of cases as they come in, and has also been a very valuable resource for this board. So we just want to publicly thank Ms. Iondine for her many years of dedicated service.
Okay. Thank you, Stephen. And in my absence, please pass on my congratulations and best wishes. And to my colleagues here on the board, let me say that I've really enjoyed working with all of you. We got an excellent team as well as a team of staff members. But when you get my age and you get a lot of stuff on your plate, you have a tendency to forget. And I've been doing a lot of forgetting. So what I've decided to do is take a few things off of my plate. So I had to make a decision. So, but I'll be checking on you guys from time to time. Okay? So stay the course. And with that, we'll move on to case SC 2514. Thank you, sir, for bearing with us.
My pleasure. I'm Kevin Bryan with Kevin Bryan Architects, Shreveport, 712 Texas Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101. Doug Filler, my surveyor, who produced this plat for that we're presenting today for plat approval, could not be here today. I'm involved in this project, and so I'm making myself available to answer any questions that might arise from this. We're asking for plat approval on a lot to subdivide an existing lot into approximately a 1.5 acre tract so that my client can build a new single-story, single-building, high-end office building. And a point of note is I'll be back here. I'm on agenda item number 11. I'll also be presenting the site plan approval for this same project, which will provide a little bit more information about what's being built. I would like to point out there that I have an updated plat. There was a slight discrepancy on the one that was proposed. We were not showing a 25-foot driveway servitude, and I'm presenting that now, and I don't know if you want to put that up on the camera or not, but I'm making an official submittal on that. So this servitude across the front here was not in the original plat, and this is our final. So I'll make myself available for questions.
Okay. Any questions or comment from board members? Staff? Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Is there anyone else here that would like to speak in favor of this application? In favor of this application? Anybody would like to speak in opposition to this application? Opposition to this application? Board, questions or comments? If not, we're ready to vote.
Mr. Chair, make a motion to approve.
Okay. Okay. It's been moved and properly second for approval of this particular case. All in favor, vote yes. Opposed, vote no. Pass unanimous. Okay. We'd like to pause again. We have Ms. Dean down in the chambers now, and turn it over to Stephen again.
Well, I only missed my speech, so I'm going to let you have an opportunity to give one. Again, this is Ms. Iondine, and we were thanking her for 40 years of dedicated service. Surprise.
I guess it's a good thing when y'all left the office, I didn't run out to do an errand or something. A good thing I was up there working, huh?
Speak.
This, you can retire at 30 years with the city. But I've been here 40 because I've actually loved it. And the people I work with have become like family. And the one thing I liked the most, I really liked the label of public servant. I've enjoyed being that person who greets the people that come off the street and try to give them decent information and reliable information they can rely on. So I've really enjoyed my job, and I've liked working with the public, and certainly really will miss the staff. And I hope that I will come back, unlike some other employees that have retired after 30 some odd years. They don't ever come back and speak. But I think I will, because I see y'all kind of like family, and I will miss y'all. And I've certainly enjoyed every minute that I've been here. Well, maybe not every minute. Most of the time I enjoyed it. I wouldn't have been here for 40 years. So thank y'all for making it enjoyable for me. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Okay. We'll move into the next case, number SC 27-14.
Good afternoon. Travis Sturdivant with Rayleigh & Associates, 4913 Shed Road, Bossier City, 71111. Here representing North River Red Company on the development of this parcel, and would be happy to answer any questions you may have concerning the platting of this property.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? Mr. Young?
This is an addition to the already existing neighborhood. Could you speak to the nature of the houses and the lot sizes compared to the rest of the neighborhood? Are they similar, or is there a difference between the lot sizes? Staying consistent or not consistent, and what's the intent on the development of the lots themselves?
Okay, I've got the developer here with me. He'll step up, introduce himself, and give you a rundown on the houses.
Okay, so don't go anywhere just yet.
I'm not. I'm still here.
Okay. Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
I am Neil Pounders. My address is 1 River Bluff Boulevard, Bossier City, Louisiana, and I've been developing for quite a while. My current main development is over in Bossier. For those of you who are not familiar with me, I have that development on the Red River off of Benton Road. That's actually on the river with the big lighthouses and palm trees and the gazillionaires that live over there that won't let me in now. And the things I do tend to be very upper end. And this particular tract of land I've owned for like 30 years, and I've been busy doing some other things, and I got looking at it, and I saw that would fit a real good need that our community has now. That is, we're all getting older. I myself am in my 60s. I don't need a big house anymore. And what we're looking at doing is putting in a subdivision that is going to be based on a friend of mine that owns crossing at Whipple Road. Very nice, beautiful little homes. They're going to be in the size range of 1,400 to 1,800 square feet. And 1,400 square feet is the minimum by the covenants of the subdivision that's in there now. And we actually, our target market is retired people. And we're actually looking at a lot of our buyers that maybe come directly out of this subdivision, because a lot of these buyers are people that originally bought these houses 30-something years ago. And people are looking to upgrade and get something newer and maintenance-free, and that will outlive them before they have to repair major roofs or air conditionings or anything like that. And we're on a cul-de-sac. It's only going to be 12 lots. The traffic impact is going to be minimal. We have addressed with the engineering department water retention. We have provisions for that. And some of the lots are a little bit smaller, and some of them are a little bit bigger than what's currently in the subdivision. Some people, the husband says, man, I don't want to cut grass. I don't want a big lot. And some of them want a larger dog run, so we've got them a little dog run. So we've got something to meet a variable demand for the lots. But like I said, it's on a cul-de-sac. It's going to be quiet, and like I said, our target market are retirees.
Okay.
Any
Thank you very much. Just stand there for a second. Any questions or comments from the board? Mr. Young, anything
Well, I
else?
was just going to say, I've seen this subdivision in Bossier, now I know who you are, and it's a very good-looking subdivision.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We toured it quite a few times looking for a house in North Bossier for my daughter, and so, yeah, they were very nice-looking houses.
Mr. Remedies.
We just had some concerns with some residents that are looking to be sure that the homes are at least 3-bedroom. Well, I would assume with that size, that would be at least 3-bedroom homes.
It will be at least 1,400 square feet, and instead of a third bedroom, a lot of times if you're retired, your functionality is a lot better for a sewing room or something of that nature. It could be used for a third bedroom. But like I said, the covenants that was originally filed in 1978 and amended in 1979 for this used to be called Elkins subdivision. Yes. And the square footage requirement was 1,400 square feet. Like I said, that's going to be our minimum. And we envision most of them being at least 3 bedrooms. And we'll always have the master bedroom downstairs and maybe 2 bedrooms upstairs with a bath for when the grandkids come to visit, that type of thing. But like I said, we're targeting the people that don't want to climb stairs, like me, and the knees go bad. We all kind of, yeah.
And in your opinion, what would you foresee this doing to the value of the homes outside of this development?
Our average median price of the home will be above what is currently out there. Now, one of the problems, or no, not a problem, but a very good feature that I enjoyed about this subdivision, turnover is very low. The people that move in there and they like it, so you don't have a whole lot of comp value. But our price will be higher. The ones in Wimple, and I think I saw the little data sheet I provided, these homes are running $143 to $148 a square foot. I don't think we could quite support this in this neighborhood. Mr. Patterson put some real nice amenities in there. Now, if our market dictates, hey, we want something a little bit nicer,
Sure.
we're going to spend our kids' inheritance. Then we'll up it up. But we're going to have something very, very nice, but something that, you know, we've got to meet market. In the market right now, it's probably $135 a square foot. But like I said, we're seeing a lot of people now, they got the little extra money, and the wife wants to go ahead and put that real nice granite in. Husband wants a nice workshop.
If it's 135 a square foot, you're saying your average, what would you say the average household value would be outside of this development? Just for the record.
Outside, oh, you mean in the current neighborhood?
And I'm just asking, just a guess.
Used homes are running well below 100 in the $85 price range.
So this would be at actual and...
It would benefit the values of the houses currently in Elkins subdivision.
Very
Yes.
good. Okay, thank you, sir. I think Ms. Bessie has a question.
Yes,
Ms.
I do.
Bessie?
Have you met with the homeowners in that area that's surrounding where you're talking?
No, ma'am. We were supposed to have a little meeting last night, and I was wanting to attend, but apparently they had a meeting last week with concerning some erroneous information that we intended to put some type of subsidized housing in there, and that was absolutely not the case. So last week I did make sure every homeowner got a flyer. Once again, y'all have a copy of it, that depicting the type of homes that we intend to build, and also the comp values of, once again, Wimple Road crossing, what their comp values were. And like I said, minimum 1,400 square feet. We was going to have not just carports, we was going to have pull-down garages. And like I said, it's going to be a modern version of what we got here now, except targeted for retirees.
Okay. Is that it, Ms. Smith?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Pounders.
Thank you, Ms. Ferdinand.
Anyone else here would like to speak in favor of this project? In favor of this project? Any opposition? Oh, you in favor or opposition? In favor. Okay, I'm sorry. Come forward, state your name and address for the record.
All right, my
Name
name
and
is,
address for the record.
excuse me, my name is Harry Forrester. I'm at 9265 Dashwood. We're in the, what you consider the Elkins subdivision. We call it Southtown Heights. We received information about this extension several weeks ago, and there was a concern with our people within our subdivision that it might be low-income houses, a lot of traffic coming in and out, and all the concerns surrounding that. However, we began the process of a petition. We brought it down here, and as we came, they shared the information to us on hard copy. We were able to see it. We talked to Mr. Ponder, and what you have in petition, possibly in hand, is a petition of a number of people against it. However, this was based on part truth or misunderstanding or whatever. So we come to say, yes, we're okay with it. And I just wanted to clarify that. That's the only reason why I'm here. I speak basically for myself, but most of our people within our Elkins subdivision, sir, a few of them are here. So Anyway, we're okay with it, and based upon what Mr. Ponder told us, and we're hoping and praying that what he said will take place.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Anybody else present would like to speak in favor of this applicant? In favor of this applicant? Opposition? Anybody here who opposes this applicant? Okay. While we at it, can we see those that's here that's in favor of this application? Will you stand, please? Anybody else that's here that's in favor of it? Okay. Thank you. Any other comments from the board? Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
Been moved and probably second to approve this application. All in favor vote yes. Opposed vote no. Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Next case, SC 2914.
I'm Brad Graff with Cotton Graff Smoke Engineering, 6305 Westport, 71129. I'm here on behalf of the owner. This is just under a 3-acre tract. We're asking for plat approval. This tract is intended to be used for many storage units. The site plan for this development was approved by this commission, I think, at the last meeting. Be happy to entertain any questions.
Any comments, Mr. Remedios?
I just want a clarification. We already planned we approved the site plan a few meetings ago, if I remember correctly. Is that right?
Last month, yeah.
We rezoned, what's the exact?
Yeah, we actually just did a site plan approval for that last time, and what's in front of you today is to define that building site.
The plat?
The subdivision, yes.
Okay. Okay, that's all. Okay.
Okay. Any other question from the board?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Andrews?
When we talked about this, or did we cover last month about landscaping and whatever, or is that where we are today?
We dealt with the landscaping last time. I think you deferred some of those decisions to staff. What this does today, Mr. Andrews, is strictly to define the limits of the site through the subdivision. That's all that's in front of you today. They would not be able to get a building permit until this action takes place.
And Mr. Andrews, there has been a revised site plan with the landscaping recommendations that y'all made.
That was submitted to the zoning administrator?
Yes.
Yes.
And help me remember, Mr. Jean, the entrance to this particular facility will be off of Jefferson Page Road, or will it be off of the street that goes into Hideaway Harbor?
No, it's coming off of Jefferson Page. It'll be just towards 220 from the bridge that goes across the creek.
And I think that it's important to point out that servitude that you show down in the corner there.
Yes.
Yeah, that, as you may recall, in seeing the site plan approval, that we actually had a driveway that was coming outside of the site, and one of the stipulations associated with that case was to make sure we had a servitude of access filed so that they clearly had the access from the adjoining property to this one, and this plat does take care of that stipulation.
So it's coming off of the street that's going into Hideaway Harbor is what?
No, from Jefferson Page, but it's just off, it's not directly coming from the site itself, it's coming from the adjacent property. And what that will allow is if there ever was any development on that property, there would be one driveway and not multiple driveways. They could have come straight down from the limits of the property, but instead, they're going slightly, if that's the north orientation, that would be slightly to the east is where their entrance. And if you recall, the site plan showed that, but there wasn't any servitude filed. And there was a stipulation that a servitude be filed. That's part of this case, is making sure that servitude is captured on this plat so that they have legal access, even though they have the same ownership. They wanted to make sure that moving forward, that access was protected through a servitude.
Okay, I guess I don't want to beat a horse to death. I can remember the driveway turning into Hideaway Harbor, going to the electric gate that's there. Now,
This right here this is the drive into Hideaway Harbor.
all right,
This is our track right here.
yes, sir?
And that driveway is right at the southeast corner of that track. It's still probably 300 feet from the drive going into Hideaway Harbor.
It's 2 lots.
So it's gonna be west of the driveway going into
Yes, sir.
Hideaway Harbor?
Yes, sir.
Not to the east side towards 220?
Correct.
All right, now we're communicating. So there's gonna have to be a curb cut done right there? There's gonna be?
There's no curb on Jefferson Page, this location. It's roadside ditches.
Gonna be an entrance.
So there'll be 2 entrances. There'll be an entrance coming out of the facility and an entrance coming out of Hideaway Harbor, both.
Yes.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. About 200 feet apart.
Any
Okay. Drive, I think.
comments, Mr. Colvin? Anything else? Okay, any other comments from the board? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is anybody else present that'd like to speak in favor of this application? In favor of this application? Anybody here in opposition to this application? Opposition? Any more comments from the board? Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Smith. Second. Second by Mr. Young. All in favor vote yes, opposed vote no. Passes unanimously. Okay. The next case is SC 30-14.
Justin Severe, Vintage Construction Group. Address is 1023 Providence Place Boulevard, Suite 120, Shreveport, sub 1106. I'm here representing Providence Development, and we are requesting approval or extension of our current infrastructure to incorporate Phase 3. Questions? I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay. Thank you. Board, any questions or comments from the board or staff?
Mr. Severe, could you just elaborate a little bit, because this is a much larger unit than what this board is used to seeing filed by you, so could you kind of walk them through that?
Sure. Our velocity, sales velocity has increased substantially out there over the last probably 18 months to 24 months. The last phase we did, we broke it into 2 units. This one was kind of right on the brink of, do we break it into 2, 32 32 lot units, or do we, go forward with 1 unit? And we just decided to, for economies of scale as far as developing and at the current pace of development and sales, that we would leave it as one unit. So.
Okay. Anything else, Chairman?
I just thought that was notable for you to hear that,
Okay,
because
good.
you're used to seeing smaller units here.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Mr. Young?
We certainly are excited about the rate of development. At your rate, how long before you develop out?
At the current rate, it's probably another, I would say 6 years, 6.5 years. There's a total of, the original plan was a total of 1,000
Home sites?
home sites. That's right, and this will put us at about almost 300. So,
Got a ways to go.
yeah.
Ways to go, but you're moving at a very
We are.
expedited pace now.
Yes, it's a very quick pace, so it's going good, very good. So, thanks for y'all's help.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? Thank you, sir. Anybody else here who would like to speak in favor of this application? In favor of this application? Any opposition to this application? Opposition to this application? Question or comments from the board?
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve by Mr. Young, second by Mr. Colvin. All in favor vote yes, opposed vote no. Passes unanimously. Okay. Next case, SC 3214.
My name's Sands Harris, 2913 Fairmont, Dallas, Texas, 75201. I'm here on behalf of Cordell Shreveport, the owner of the tract of land, and the subdivision before you is about 21.8 acres out of approximately 175 acres that we own on Mansfield Road. This is really the subdivision that we've been talking about McDonald's, or I've been here worrying about the McDonald's tract, and this subdivision request establishes all the other lots, but it also establishes the location of the access road that has been discussed at both with the Department of Transportation Development and with MPC and with staff, city staff, and I think we've come to this alignment, and I believe right now everybody is in agreement on it, and we are able to bring the subdivision before you. So I'm available for questions, and as well as Andy Craig is here, who is the engineer on this project.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Stephen?
Sands, could you, I think you went over this once before, but have you also contracted to have construction documents prepared for the roadway as well?
Yes. In fact, as soon as I'm through here, I run to go meet the contractor to try to go through final pricing on the implementation of the road and the storm sewer system, at least the portion of the road that's necessary for McDonald's, which really runs from Pecos Point to Artis Taylor. And those are shown on the plat. This does not indicate what comes first, but that loop, which provides access from Mansfield and back to Mansfield, is the first piece that we'll complete. But the stormwater system will go all the way and discharge essentially to Williamson Way. So it covers a lot more area than the roadway at this time.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Mr. Young, hold on, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
I noticed on the map, none of the other lots that are shown show any access points onto Mansfield Road themselves. Am I correct?
That is not platted at this time. In the master plan, which we've submitted, there does show additional driveways. In our discussions, we have a limited number of driveways we can provide over time. Location, we elected not to show them on the plat at this time, but to align them with as purchases occur and lot lines really get firmly established. Now,
Subject to approval of DOTD?
yeah, we'll have to go back through the process, but this was an approach. We do know that we have 3 more, Andy? Well, I believe we have 3 more besides the one we have now, and we have gone through a fairly lengthy process of understanding how Dunkin' Donuts and Raceway fit with our master plan, and that's been worked out and again approved. But we will have to come back and we will have to comply with LA DOTD and their requirements for the placement of the driveway and the access off those driveways to the individual lots.
One more question, Mr. Chairman.
Got it.
Mr. Jean?
Yes, sir.
Approval today, would that cause in any way problems for us in the future because it does not show at least tentative ingress egress points off of Mansfield Road?
No, because your site plan process would be the controlling factor in that.
Okay.
We have also a master plan on file that shows those access points. And now this is slightly different where the connector roads are. And I'll just use as an example, Pecos Point is a connector road. What we're trying to encourage as much as possible to access from this new roadway that they're showing here. Now, we do have some access to the connector roads now, as we do at Raceway, we do at Pecos Point. I think moving forward, we're going to see less of that, and there was already an agreement to allow a couple more direct access, but if we try to determine that today, just from the subdivision point, we won't be able to do the analysis that we need when we know the specific users, because some are trip generators and some are not trip generators. And so we may end up having to do it again once we have a more detailed plan.
You really can't evaluate it until you have a known tenant.
Yes, it's the use. Like when, for instance, a drive-through is more that has a trip generation is much higher, but if there's another use like a restaurant, it's going to be, if it's just a sit-down restaurant, that would be a totally different traffic dynamic.
Right.
So getting, we talked many times about throat distance when we're dealing with the site plan. The throat distance issue is not as critical on some of the uses as they do on others. So on some types of uses, having direct access to Mansfield Road may not be that critical. So we'll be evaluating those on a case-by-case basis and bringing this back to this body.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Stephen. Anything else, Leon? Okay. Any other comments? Thank you, sir. Anyone else here to speak in favor of this application?
Andy Craig, Moore & Associates, 6025 Buncombe Road, Shreveport, 71129. I just need to point out something really more for the staff's benefit. We did a little tweaking on the plat since the copy that Reggie has here. I just wanted to show. This is the McDonald's lot, which is the next case which y'all be looking at. You can see this little lot 1001 right here. The McDonald's real estate deal was done before we had a chance to work out the geometrics on this plat and the right-of-way. And so what we've done is reserve this lot 1001 so that after the McDonald's deal is done, the developer intends to do a little land swap to make the geometrics of the right-of-way work. So I just wanted to explain that because the final plat will look like that. And it's just to be able to make it all work. So.
Okay. Thank you for that.
And the staff hadn't had a benefit to see that yet, so I just want to make sure they knew that up front.
Okay. Good. Stephen?
Got a curveball?
Would you put it back up there one more time?
I'll give you the copy of it.
Yeah, please do, because I did see, when we evaluated this, we saw the wider right-of-way there. So what you're doing is you're going to end up moving that back over again.
Correct.
We had that geometrics, but what we didn't have is this correction he has. I don't have a problem with it. We saw that and we wondered why there was a kind of unusual angle there.
Gotcha.
We thought it had something to do with the topography. So this does help explain that. I don't have a problem with what he just showed.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you very much, sir. Anyone else here to speak in favor of this application? Come forward and state your name and address, please.
Good afternoon. I'm Jim Mabus, 8513 Rampart Place, Shreveport. I've spoken to you all before, maybe not the new ones, but most of you before about this development on South Mansfield Road because I work very closely with the Southern Hills Business Association. And I've got to commend Mr. Jean, Mr. Craig, and many others who have been very patiently working with the property owner and I think one of the hardest things, working with the State Highway Commission, who have thoroughly reviewed this, and I think they finally have approval, which encourages those of us in the Southern Hills Business Association, because not only will McDonald's be able to do their relocations or get moving on it, but we feel very strongly that once McDonald's is there and another pending business that should be, that you've already approved the site plan for, we'll see further development along there. There may be others already looking at it, and this service road to the rear is a great development. The developer, the owner coming on board with that has made a tremendous difference in the development of this. But overall, it's a good thing, and we definitely support it.
Thank you very much, sir. Anyone else would like to speak in favor of this application? In favor of the application? Any opposition to this application? Come forward, sir. Speak your name, state your name and address, please.
My name is John L. Savage III. I live at 300 Burson Drive, Shreveport, Louisiana, 7118. And if they're going to put it on that side of 171, that's the west side. I don't know what they're coming up unless they're going to put it in the medium. And I just got a few questions. Are these going to be government houses or are these going to be housing units?
This is
Each individual house?
Sir, address it to us, address the question to the board.
Okay. See, I'm confused. I thought there was gonna be houses built there.
I think he's confused on the case.
I think it's another case that you probably, this
Well,
is
Burson
not.
Drive's across the street, so.
The letter I read, y'all sent me was residential, so I was confused.
You on case number 5?
What case number you on? Is it 30?
It's a subdivision. It's SC 3214 is the case number here.
Okay, I'm on the wrong one.
Okay, don't go nowhere, though. Come back.
It's a commercial, it's not residential.
It'll come up, sir. Thank you. All right, we're on 32, SC 3214. Anybody else would like to speak in opposition to this case? Opposition? Comments from the board?
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Young, second by Ms. Smith. All in favor, vote yes. Opposed, vote no.
Wait a minute, she wasn't
Wait a
ready.
minute. Okay, let's try it again.
Mine's not up. There it is.
There it is.
I got no blank. Yeah, you voted yes.
Okay. Mr. Andrews, okay. Passes unanimously. Thank y'all. Okay. Moving right along. Like I said, I gotta pause a little bit. Okay. The next case is case number C 3614. Come forward and state your name and address, please.
Good afternoon, members of the commission. My name is Chris Pearson with McDonald's USA, located at 3850 North Causeway Boulevard, Metairie, Louisiana 70002. My commitment to staff was that I wouldn't ask for a deferral this afternoon. I certainly appreciate your patience, as well as staff's patience, as the developer, staff, city, and the LADOTD came to a collaboration of sorts, and we've aligned what we think is the master plan development of not just the McDonald's parcel, but also the parcels north and south, up and down Mansfield Road. As the previous case mentioned, this is what we think will be a benefit for the community, but particularly in regards to the McDonald's case. We certainly look forward to be able to relocate our restaurant just to the north, from the north on Jewella to this location. And I'd like to, in closing, I'd like to thank staff, particularly Mr. Mims, Mr. Platt in engineering, Mr. Westerman, Mr. Jean, who have greatly gone beyond what you would normally expect of a government body to assist in our development. I have the benefit of working throughout the state and also in Texas, Mississippi, and Arkansas, and I will say that this planning staff, this commission, I find to be very professional and courteous and supportive as a public entity. So again, my thanks to you all, and I'm here for any questions regarding the case. Thank you.
Okay. Hold on, sir. Mr. Andrews.
Would you mind, well, thank you for all those nice comments. We love our staff too, because
Yes.
I'll tell you what, I don't know where we'd be without them. Oh, which one of those restaurants you see you were closing on, Jewel? Are you gonna move?
I don't know the address offhand, but it's approximately just under 3 miles to the north.
Jewella, Mansfield.
Jewella and Mansfield, correct.
Gotcha.
That building's due for a rebuild.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Any other questions from the board? Thank you, sir. Anybody else would like to speak in favor of this application? In favor of this application? Oh, go right ahead.
Jim Mavis, 8513 Rampart Place, Shreveport. Again, I'm not going to go through all the people, but I forgot to thank Mr. Pearson, too, because he himself has been deeply involved in this, and he's been, I think, very patient in working out these details.
Thank you, Mr. Mavis. Anybody else would like to speak in favor of this application? Opposition to this application? Opposition to this application? Any other comments from the board?
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Young, second by Mr. Andrews. All in favor, vote yes. Opposed, vote no. Okay. It passes unanimously. Okay. Moving right along, we're at 4814, huh? Next case is C 4814. Hunt Real Estate. Okay. There you are. Come forward, state your name and address for the record, sir.
Yes, sir. Hello, Andrew Cordero, 3055 Knight Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71105. And we're here today presenting our site plan for the Family Dollar on Monkhouse, just north of I-20. It was deferred from last week's hearing because we had to change our site plan around the last minute, and staff didn't have a chance to review it. Our original site plan, which I'll actually put on the overhead. Our original site plan had access on Liba Street, which the traffic city engineers felt that it was too close to the intersection of Monkhouse and Liba. And they also did not like our truck movements, our internal truck movements on site. So we deleted the access on Liba Street on the east side of the building and moved it to the west side of the building, or excuse me, moved it to the east side of the building. So now you have plenty of distance from Monkhouse on Liba Street, and the trucks are pulling in on Monkhouse, wrapping all the way around the site, and then pulling out on Liba Street.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Young.
Mr. Jean.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking at a comment from Mr. Robert Westerman, Engineering.
Yes.
That says that, I'm assuming the revised site plan I'm looking at on the overhead screen is the one that they still have issue with?
The one that you're seeing now takes care of the issue.
Takes care of the issue?
Yes.
The one that had the entrance too close to the intersection was the problem?
That's correct. And the
So now
front
this is
turning
resolved?
movement. Right, so what, we double checked that right before the hearing to make sure, yes, what you have in your packet is the one, revised site plan that Mr. Westerman has approved.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I have a question.
Ms. Smith?
Will you elaborate on your landscaping?
Sure, as you can see on the site plan, we're showing our trees, and then also you can see the hatched area, which is showing our mulched area, our flower beds, but it'll be as heavily landscaped as the store on Burt Coons and Dean, Lakeshore and Hearn, and Erie Drive and Strapmore. Same elaborated landscaping plan.
Very good.
Okay, is that it, Ms. Smith? Any other questions or comments?
One, and then Mr. Jean.
I'm sorry, Stephen?
Could you, I think you may have stated this before, but could you explain to the board, we don't have exterior elevations that is submitted along with this application. Can you describe to the board what this building is going to look like, or do you have drawings? that you
Sure, I
can
think I
submit
have
to the
some
record?
pictures in here. It's the same exterior building model as Burt Coons and Dean and Lakeshore and Hearn.
Is that something you can submit for the record for us today?
Sure.
Okay.
I can submit this. You have the two-tone stucco, fully wrapped, no exposed steel. As you can see, the landscaping beds in front of the store.
Not me.
That's just another angle showing the side of the building is the same material as the front. This actually shows the detail a little bit better. Two-tone stucco finish. Our flower beds. And then this is actually the Burt Coons site. This is actually Burt Coons right here. I'll be happy to leave all this.
Thank you, sir. So several months from now, when Mr. Ferdinand drives by the site, he's gonna see a building that looks like this. So when he calls me, I'm gonna be able to verify this is exactly what we had approved. Okay,
Sure,
thank
same
you,
as
sir.
the first two.
Okay, appreciate that, sir.
Thank you, Stephen. Any other questions or comment for Mr. Cordero? All right. Thank you very much, sir. Anybody else here would like to speak in favor of this application? In favor of this application? Any opposition to this application? Opposition? Board?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Andrews, second by Ms. Smith for
Comment.
approval.
Comment.
Question by Mr. Young.
Stephen, do we need to step as per the applicant's?
I believe so, sir.
With
At least acknowledge
stipulation
that
of
was,
the applicants saying that it would be as per the other stores' locations on the exterior surfaces of the plan, because he
Okay.
did not submit external elevation.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mr. Young.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a private joke. All in favor, vote yes. Opposed, vote no.
I'm not sure. I mean, we're stiff on there.
It passes unanimously. Thank you, Alan. Moving right along, case number 52, am I right? 52-14.
Good enough.
Okay.
All right, I've used up my stiff one.
Case number 52-14.
More to come. More reload.
Anybody here to speak on that case?
I think they're working their way forward, sir.
Terry, you young and you can move a little faster than that. We got to get this meeting over with.
In spite of the gray hair. Huh?
Yeah. Go right ahead.
Good evening.
Name and address for the record, sir.
Terry Moore, 6134 Newton Abbott, Shreveport, Louisiana. What we're doing, we're asking for permits to allow us to have the multi-purpose functions that we want to have: banquets, weddings, reception, repasts, and we do have a church that's meeting with us. And we also have our lodges in there and after-school tutorial program that will be restarting. Just need to be about rezoned for that.
Okay. Any questions or comment from the board?
Yes, what are you doing there now at this location? I look for it. What are you all doing?
Right now, we have lodges and chapters that are meeting there.
And this is all full of-
Okay, Ms. Smith.
I just couldn't find it. I looked for it the other day. And the location that's in Hollywood, right off of Linwood.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see the building.
There's two buildings, yeah.
You okay, Ms. Smith?
Yes, but I want to know, can he do, instead of changing it to B3, can, Mr. Jean, can it be B2, something else instead of B3?
That is a B3 use. It could not be B2. Now, the only other tool you've used in the past is an extended use district. We had not done any, staff had any analysis in regard to whether that complies with ordinance standards regarding the E. We could, we look into that real quickly, but we didn't make that a part of our deliberations in this case.
Okay.
We looked it over.
Hold your point, Stephen. Let me ask Mr. Young. He has a comment.
Mr. Jean, I see you got some comments and site plan considerations, and one of them is it needed to be limited from use from 1 to 200. And, any high ratio would depend on hours of operations and may requirement a variance in parking. And then the other says it doesn't show any solid screen fencing, the abutting residential, and doesn't meet the landscaping requirements. Either one of those issues been addressed since the notes, staff notes?
Not besides the staff notes, we have a stipulation there. One of the things that we're trying to do, when we have a use where it looks like the parking is being basically challenged as for the amount of space that's on the site, we're trying to make sure that the user knows that they couldn't put, for example, a restaurant or some other heavy intensive use or a medical office building in this particular location without causing a problem. That's the reason why the 1 per 200 note is in there. That doesn't really require any action other than just making sure that the owner or applicant is aware when they begin to try to fill that space. As far as the plan itself, we were just saying that if you were so inclined to approve, we could stipulate that is subject to a revised site plan showing the solid screen fencing and the alternative landscaping. The way that the site is laid out, because it has existing paving, they would have to submit an alternative plan because they can't actually meet the ordinance as it currently is drafted for this site. But we could explore alternative landscaping plan, and that's what staff's recommendation is.
Mr. Young?
Mr. Moore, what I'm trying to do is if we can resolve it as far as this board is concerned, and then the one or two simple resolutions as far as landscaping and fencing, if we can get that done, then you just go back and get it worked out with Mr. Jean and the staff, and you don't have to come back.
Okay, we
That's
have
what we're trying to
fencing.
do.
Is there a different type of fencing that we need? Excuse me.
It has to be solid screen fencing abutting the residential.
Like a wood or a
Okay.
cyclone that's got the slats in it or something on that line. They could work that out.
Yeah, we can get that worked out. That's not a problem.
Okay.
So right now, as it's, the alternatives that we have laid out in the staff report does already include those two items, sir. So if you're inclined to approve with the stipulation already we drafted, then that should cover your points.
As long as Ronnie will do it, that's not a
No,
problem.
Alan's gonna take care
No,
of
I'm
it.
not.
I'm
out of steps.
Don't be so sensitive. Okay, any other questions or comments? Thank you, Terry. Anyone else here would like to speak in favor of this application? In favor of this application? Come forward, ma'am, and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Annie Ely. I live at 1712 Bonnie Street. I'm one of the officers at our meeting place where we have our Eastern Star meetings. And we are hoping to conclude and, as he said, have our afternoon programs for the children out there. So that's the use that we are really planning on. That's for the neighborhood children. Most of us that meet out there, we are in different districts, but we all have our meetings out there. So hopefully we'll be able to do something good. We can't ever do too much for our children.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your comment. Anyone else here to speak in favor of this application? Former coworker. Yeah. State your name and address for the record.
My name is Mary Jane Wilson. I live at 1805 Nicholson Street. I'm one of the persons, or co-owners of that building that we are talking about, and you've already heard that it's the Masonic and Eastern Star building, and you see what we are asking for. We're just asking for permission to do the things that's necessary for us to do for that community.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Mary Jane. Thank you. Anyone else here to speak in favor of this application? In favor of the application? Anybody here in opposition to this application? Opposition? Okay. Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Andrews for approval, second by Mr. Carvin. Question or comment?
Still. I'm going to defer to Mr. Young.
Okay, the steps deferred to Mr. Young.
Sure, why not, with steps.
Second.
Go ahead, Al.
The steps as per the staff's recommendations of the solid wood screen fencing and landscaping, and the use ratio of 1 to 200. Correct,
Okay.
Mr. Jean?
Yeah, well, that doesn't necessarily have to be. If you want to make that a specific step, you can. It's mainly just to educate the owner. They're going to be held by that ordinance anyway. They
Well,
just
then
need-
let's go with the first two steps,
Yes.
which is landscaping and fencing.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, it's been motion and second for approval with steps. All in favor vote yes, opposed vote no. It passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay. Next case is case number 5314. That's Sopan Pike, did I get that right?
Close enough.
Come right ahead and state your name and address for the record, sir.
Hello everyone, my name is Sopan PK. My address is 117 Jordan Street, Shreveport, Louisiana 71101.
Okay. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm requesting approval to permit one side of the existing commercial building, that is 1716 Centenary and 1718 as a business and 1716 as a residence. It used to be a doctor's office before.
Okay. All right, any questions or comment from the board or staff? Stephen, we okay?
Don't have any issues, sir.
Huh?
No issues.
No issues, okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else here like to speak in favor of this application? In favor of this application? Any opposition to the application? Opposition to the application? Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve.
Second. Moved by Mr. Andrews for approval, second by Mr. Young. All in favor, vote yes. Opposed, vote no. Okay. Passes unanimously.
Is that way you
Okay.
All right. I expect a cupcake.
Next case, case number C-5414. Huh? Hold on.
Miss Smith didn't get her button.
Oh, you got it in, Ms. Smith? I'm sorry, I'm glad, because you know I can't see.
There we go. There we
We got it. Thank you, Ms. Smith. 5414, Hunt Real Estate.
No, this is downtown.
Yeah, I know.
Hello, I'm back again. Andrew Cordero, 3055 Ninth Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71105. Here to present a downtown site, downtown Shreveport, for Family Dollar at the west corner of Caddo and Common. Mr. Reggie is passing out the building elevations for this site. And I just wanted to start out by thanking everybody that's been involved in this process. Robert Weston with the City Engineer's Office, Jim Olier with DOTD, Stephen Jean with NPC staff, Liz Swain with DDA, Pam with Shreveport Regional Arts Council, and City Councilman Jeff Everson. We've all met extensively on this site, and we've made a series of changes to the site plan from our first meeting on July 8th. So I was just going to walk everybody through those changes. So we had a big roundtable meeting on July 8th, and there were a few items that everyone wanted to see. So I made a long list and took them back to Family Dollar for their consideration. The first suggestion was to add a sidewalk onto Douglas Street, which Family Dollar agreed to. The group did not see it necessary to have a sidewalk on View Street because this will be predominantly for the truck access, and they don't want to encourage any foot traffic down View. So we were already showing a sidewalk on Common Street, Caddo Street, and now we're showing an 8-foot wide sidewalk on Douglas Street. Originally, we were showing 18 crepe myrtles and 3 shade trees, and since then, we've changed all of our crepe myrtles to shade trees, so we'll have 21 total shade trees on site. As you'll see on your elevation, we originally proposed the same building model as Uri Drive and Stratmore, and the group wanted to see a more downtown-friendly site, something that incorporated brick that blended more into the surroundings of downtown Shreveport. So we came up with the elevation that you have in front of you. It's the exact same building model, except as the base of the building being stucco. It's a brick facade, 4.5 feet tall, fully wrapping the building around the archway and some of the window columns also. Originally, we did not have the dumpster enclosure connecting to the building. There's about a 10-foot gap where you could see through. So we have extended the dumpster enclosure all the way to the base of the building. And as you'll see, it's the same material, same color, same structure as the base, so it'll blend in. Most people won't even notice that there's a dumpster behind it. We originally were not showing any barrier for the HVAC condenser and the freezer condenser pads. We've added a shadow fence on our View Street side, which is the same color as the base of the building and the dumpster enclosure. Bike racks. That was something that was suggested to have more of a pedestrian-friendly experience. So we have added bike racks to the site plan. And actually, let me take a step back. You can actually see the dumpster enclosure fully wrapping the dumpster connecting to the building on the site plan, and then you can also see the shadow fence for the HVAC pad and condenser pad. It's tough to see from the projection, but it is on our site plan. And then one change that Family Dollar wanted to make, they were originally showing their handicap parking spaces a little bit further away from the door, so we shifted our parking spaces over. And that is it. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Cordero. Any questions or comment from the board?
Mr. Stephen Jean.
Stephen?
First of all, I want to thank you, Mr. Cadero. You really did listen. You made quite a number of changes, and as I told you before, there is one issue that I'm going to continue to talk about, and that is that when we talk about downtown, and we talk about the context of downtown, we're talking about a walkable environment. And when you walk around downtown right now, you will see the buildings really close to the street, and the actual access to those buildings are from the sidewalks from the street. So it welcomes the pedestrian as it goes into the site. When we're in a suburban area, let's say that a lot of people are familiar with, we're looking, say, in the Uri Drive area, where it is more automobile-centered. You have the doors that are welcoming you through the parking lot instead of welcoming you from the street. In this particular layout, there's a slight compromise, and I will have to commend you for that, is that you do have a corner entrance that does relate somewhat to Caddo, but the prominent downtown orientation is actually along Common Street. And what we would have liked to have seen, and this is no surprise to you, that we'd like to see the entrance actually relate more to the Common Street side rather than to the parking lot like the suburban models. And I know that you did take this issue to a Family Dollar, and could you explain to us why we did not see that particular recommendation on your site plan?
Sure, I'll be happy to do that. As Stephen said, we are showing a corner entry facing Caddo Street. That was on our list from our July 8th meeting. I went back to Family Dollar actually 3 times. We actually had a follow-up meeting with Stephen and Dara, and I revisited the issue with Family Dollar a 3rd time. And they felt that as a convenience to their customer and safety, the door should be as close to the parking as possible, as opposed to having the door at the corner of the intersection of Caddo and Common. This length of building is 102 feet, and to have the entry at the corner of the intersection, customers would park in the parking lot and walk at least 102 feet, and that's if they're parking in the handicapped spaces. Also, Caddo being a busy street, Family Dollar just didn't think that it would be in their best interest from a safety standpoint to have their customers walking into traffic to enter the building. And then also, the handicapped spaces. As you can see from our site plan, our handicapped spaces are steps away from the front door. If we moved our door to the intersection, it'd be very difficult for handicapped customers to access the store. And from the first site plan that Family Dollar put together for us to present, they actually had the building flipped, which is really a more suburban model like Stephen's talking about. We really pushed them to move the building closer to the street for more of a downtown feel. And also parking spaces, which was, we scaled back our parking spaces from, I believe, 30 spaces to 42, which is preferably the parking ratio that Family Dollar requires. So that's why we're not showing the door at the intersection.
Thank you, Mr. Cordero. Stephen?
Question.
Okay. Mr. Andrews?
So, just looking down the road, where does Family Dollar anticipate most of their customers coming from?
They really love this location because they're really going to get customers from the neighborhood, Allendale, downtown, and then obviously some foot traffic as well. You have 8,000 cars on Caddo Street and a little bit under 8,000 on Caddo Street, so it's 16,000 cars at the intersection. They feel like this will be a heavy traffic location, vehicular traffic. I do anticipate some foot traffic. downtown workers. I feel like most will drive if they're as close as, to the site as First United Methodist Church. I could see a good bit of customers walking from the church, but say Regent's Tower, for instance, I'm sure most people would hop into the car and drive to this site versus walk.
What kind of count did you have on traffic for Common Street versus Caddo?
For Caddo Street, I have 7,870, and for Common Street, I have 6,073.
Really?
2012 numbers. And the traffic increases as you go back downtown on Common Street, so it jumps up to 8,000, and then I think almost 10,000 when you get right in front of First United Methodist Church.
On View Street? Probably that Pete Harris Drive traffic.
I'm not sure.
No, I was just telling you, I'm sorry. Anything else, Ms. Andrews?
Well, my only concern, and here again, we spend a lot of time and money on a master plan, and as we move into the future and we talk about improving downtown and also the surrounding areas, having been able to remember when there was a vendor downtown where you could go buy a bag of chips or you could buy a chicken to take home and fry. It was right up the street, old block maybe from where you're talking about, and none of that exists down there anymore. And I'm not saying that's probably what you're going to be selling there, but with the kind of people being as health conscious as they are, I don't see a problem with people walking from that hill down there, during the lunch hour for whatever reason to pick up stuff. And I'm kind of like Mr. Jean. I was just a little concerned about the entrance facing in that direction to be more in concert with what we're talking about in the future for downtown. That's just my feeling, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Andrews. Mr. Young.
Mr. Cordero, keeping in the same spirit of what the downtown looks like, tell us why, or can you explain why it's only a partially wrapped brick and the rest of it stucco versus all brick? Because almost every structure in downtown area is either some kind of stone or brick versus stucco or synthetic stucco product. So
We originally were showing the Erie Drive and Shreveport building, which, although is less expensive than the brick model, it's substantially more expensive than the one we talked about earlier on Monk House. This is the prototype that Family Dollar agreed to. I didn't push them for a full brick building. The group consensus was they wanted to see some brick incorporated to blend in more with downtown. So this is the building model that we did come up with.
If it was the pleasure of the board, is it a problem if it went in the direction of all brick?
I know it would be more expensive, and that's not something that I can say today that we can or can't. I know it might come down to a budget issue, because the more and more we add to the store, the higher the costs go for the development. The less likely that it'll get approved by Family Dollar's real estate committee. And it's already approved at this price. Now, if we submit new plans and a new budget, we're really risking approval, Family Dollar approving the project. So the brick that we're showing here has added a substantial amount of money in addition to the stucco wrapping. And then you'll see the windows and the awnings around the store as well. Douglas Street and Common Street, 4 on Common Street, and as you'll see, 4 as well on Douglas.
This has been my experience in construction, and I've done quite a bit, that the cost per square foot for brick versus stucco is not much difference. The cost per square foot is fairly similar, especially when you're going with not a old brick that you're trying to do, is new brick. There's not a lot of difference in square foot cost. And it would just be more in concert with what downtown looks like, in my opinion, if it was all brick. My 2 cents.
Mm-hmm. There were some mixed opinions about what the building should look like. There were a few people in attendance that thought it blended in well with the convention center, and they preferred the Erie Drive store with all stucco, 2-tone stucco versus the brick. So I guess it is subjective.
Versus the wainscot effect.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Cadero.
Ms. Smith?
Yes. I would just like to commend you all with the Family Dollar stores because I can see great improvement. And I'm hoping that if you ever come into the Stony Hill area, we too will have something like this. But I want to commend you for that location because I'm very familiar with the traffic there. To me, it's a very good location, and I think you will have very good business there too. The landscaping, I want to commend you for that. Also, handicap accessible. That's right there by that door, because I know a lot of people, including myself, handicapped, and I like to walk right into handicap places, not so far away from the door. So I wanted to commend you all for this.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Smith. Any other questions for Mr. Caddo? Thank you, sir. Anyone else here would like to speak in favor of this application? Mr. Councilman, come forward, state your name and address for the record.
I'm Jeff Everson, 1053 Boulevard Street, Shreveport 71104. And I appreciate the MPC taking the time to hear this today and Stephen's comments as well. Family Dollar did take a long time and a lot of consideration into this location, and we really do appreciate them responding to a lot of the requests. You know, certainly, would I like to see a corner entrance? Yeah, I do. I think that would be a great thing. But considering the needs of downtown and the needs of development in that area, it's not a situation where I'm willing to make the perfect be the enemy of the good, and this is very good. They've done a lot of improvements to where they locate things, how the site will function, how it will flow, and you know, I really think it's a compliment to the area. So certainly I'm proud of the improvements that they've made to this site. The brick and stucco combination is actually one that I think I'm sort of divided in there, but I am actually leaning towards thinking it blends pretty well because Convention Center and the federal courthouse and a number of the new build things in that area of downtown are stucco. So to be a brick and stucco combination, it sort of lends to the old and the new and kind of ties it together a little bit. So for those reasons, I'm supportive of this today.
Okay.
Thank you
very much. Anyone else here like to speak in favor of this application? Ms. Swain?
Good afternoon, everyone. Liz Swain, 401 Edwards, Suite 205, Shreveport, Louisiana. First, I want to thank Stephen Jean and the entire MPC staff for having the best interest of downtown at heart and in mind. Throughout more than a year, I think, that we've been talking to Family Dollar about a location downtown. And for those of you who've been on the board for a while, you know that we've been talking to Family Dollar maybe more than a year, maybe close to a year and a half now. This is their second location that they've looked at downtown. The first one didn't work out for some other issues. And it has been tough, because if we could wave that magic wand and we could say we want this, 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 and this, and have it happen, that would be a wonderful thing for all of us. We have this committee, the MPC and Jeff and I and Pam Atchison and others that have met with Family Dollar. We have asked for many, many changes to be made. And Andrew has gone back, and we've won on about half of them. So 50% is a pretty good thing, but you have to realize that they are responsive to the point that they believe that they can make money, that it makes sense for them to locate there. And so when you weigh the pros and cons of this retail outlet in the place where they would like to be, in my opinion, the pros went out, the positives went out. So I am here supporting this application, and I believe that it will be a benefit to downtown. And one thing that I am incredibly excited about is the whole reason they're sitting here and have been coming back for this year, year and a half, is because the market study they did on downtown has been so very strong. And that bodes very well for not only them, but for downtown as a whole. And I want to thank all of you as well for the questions that you're asking and the requirements that you're placing on businesses for downtown. Thank you for keeping downtown at the top of your minds and your hearts and what is in the best interest of our historic downtown. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Swain. Anybody else would like to speak in favor? Come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Pam Atchison, Shreveport Regional Arts Council, 801 Crockett Street, a stucco building. So I just want to say how really refreshing the conversation is to hear from you all, that we were on target in our over a year's worth of deliberation and the very same questions that we asked. And I wanted to tell you that it has been a comprehensive, collaborative, and thoughtful process. I'm thankful that not only the heart and soul of downtown was included as a business district, but also that we had conversations around what does this do to help downtown become the neighborhood that we also envision it being. And I think we all would agree that without strong retail downtown, we don't accomplish all of the goals of what our community can be as a live, work, and play destination. And so Family Dollar is taking a really good risk in coming downtown and helping us to fulfill lots of the vision for downtown as a place where we can shop after 5 o'clock. So I'm very thankful for the process, glad that we were all a part of it, and I agree that we didn't get everything we want. Some of us might have wanted a Neiman Marcus, but the fact of the matter is I think we're going to have a dynamic place that's going to serve a lot of people and be a very accessible home for all of us to enjoy. And so I thank you, and I support the process, and I support Family Dollar being a part of our downtown as well.
Thank you, Ms. Atchison. Anyone else here would like to speak in favor of this application? In favor of this application? Any opposition to this application? Opposition to this application? If not, pleasure of the board.
Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Our Chair, Leah DeMarteau, emailed me and asked me to read a few comments into the record.
Okay.
Overall, downtown Shreveport has suffered a loss in services and deteriorating buildings. Our master plan and multiple studies acknowledge our need for retail services, as well as our need to focus on updating, rehabilitating, and occupying the overabundance of existing empty building spaces. However, we must also acknowledge the rights of property owners to develop vacant properties in accordance with our plans and codes. The applicant is requesting a changing in zoning. The request for permission from the city's decision makers, MPC and City Council, to change the rules for this property should meeting the adopted policies and principles of our community. Our codes charge us with the responsibility of considering whether or not the site plan is designed to be harmonious and appropriate in appearance with the existing or intended character of the general vicinity. A simple revision of this property, or of this proposal, would greatly improve the design so that it is harmonious with the appropriate and in appearance with the existing and intended character of the general vicinity. Located the main entrance to face the intersection of Caddo and Common, an internet search of Family Dollars in the United States will provide proof that this simple revision to the location of the store's main entrance has been done in other urban environments. Therefore, a stipulation requiring the applicant to relocate the main entrance to face the intersection of Caddo and Common will meet the applicant's desire to be primary provider in retail services to downtown Shreveport and meeting the existing and intended character of our downtown. And those are the remarks of our chair, Leah DeMarteau, who is out of town on vacation.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Remedies, and thank you, Ms. DeMarteau, in her absence. Any other questions or comments from?
I have a comment. I want to thank Pam and Liz and their committee for all of the improvement of downtown. I mean, I've read so much and I've had a chance to see, and I do know how downtown used to look. And I want to commend the committee. I don't know who they are, but they are doing a fantastic job improving downtown.
Thank you very much, Ms. Smith.
Mr. Chairman, do you have the for and against on this case?
I think we didn't have the opposition yet.
We've had the opposition, so we're ready for a
Do
motion.
we have the opposition?
Ready for it.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Colvin for approval, second by Ms. Smith. All in favor, vote yes. Opposed, vote no. Everybody vote. Okay.
Everybody vote. Ms. Smith?
Voted.
Okay.
She loved it, so I know she said yes.
love it.
Motion passed unanimously. Thank y'all very much. Moving right along. Case number C 5514, 8700 block of Lyon Avenue.
Kevin Bryan with Kevin Bryan Architects, 712 Texas Street, 71101. Here on behalf of Jennifer Thurman. I was here on the agenda as item number 1. We did plat approval, and I believe that was voted favorably, unanimously. So I'm back here now for site plan approval. Ms. Thurman's intent is to develop this approximately 1.5 acre tract of land into a 6,000 square foot single-story office building, 3,000 square feet of which would be for her own personal use for her office, and then the additional 3,000 square feet either for expansion of her own business or for developing into another tenant space of like occupancy type. Our site plan illustrates that we do meet all of the zoning requirements in terms of parking, landscaping, site water retention, privacy fencing. We've met with Ione Dean and Stephen Jean a couple of times on this project, and I believe we've got everything from a zoning standpoint nailed down solid. I do want to point out, though, that on this development that just a few items, that this is a single-story, high-end office building that Ms. Thurman is wanting to build. She'll be operating within normal business operating hours. She will have the required privacy fence along the back of her site, separating the residential from the commercial. She will be complying with all landscaping requirements and probably exceeding those. And wanted to point out something that I thought was important in the fact that there will be no new curb cut required along Lyon Avenue. The property immediately adjacent to her to the south has a curb cut, and their development will share that driveway. So no additional curb cut on Lyon Avenue. And just point out the fact that it is an office space, which, as far as the types of development that could take place there, is probably one of the lowest volume in terms of traffic that you would see coming and going from that type of facility. So I'm here to answer any questions that you might have regarding this development.
Okay. Thank you very much. Stay there for a second. Mr. Remedies?
Do y'all have a elevation?
We have a schematic that we developed, but it's not a tied down elevation at this time.
Okay.
Our intent, I'll tell you this though, is to do a very nice high-end office development, not a metal building structure, and I don't know if you know the company Motor Finance that is actually selling this property to Ms. Thurman, but they have some very specific requirements from a quality standpoint that they require that anybody purchasing and developing their property adheres to.
Where's Lyon Avenue?
Okay. That's good. Stephen, you had something?
Do you have this schematic that you...
Not in my back pocket.
But you're making a commitment right now.
Yes, sir.
That there's not going to be any... Would you have any problem with the board stipulating that you submit the elevations to staff for review?
I don't have a problem with that.
If the board was so inclined to do that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Alan's going to handle that one.
Alan, question.
Ms. Cooper?
So the parking is going to be on line, and then the building is going to be behind the parking. So the parking is going to be what everybody's going to see when they drive by it?
This existing tract of land that is being subdivided from a larger piece of property, that this larger tract of land has a stipulation in place that we have a driveway servitude that fronts Lyon Avenue, and that was what was indicated on the plat that we looked at earlier. It sort of forces a situation where you do enter into the side of the site parallel with Lyon Avenue. And I would point out that I believe most of the developments that are around there that are currently under construction have the same type of parking arrangement.
That whole strip there is there's really nothing there yet. It's all, there is a lot of active construction there. And I'm not sure where all the parking is going to be, but I do kind of hope we don't end up with a sea of parking lots along Line Avenue there.
The facility due south of there is under construction. The Twisted Root Restaurant is directly across the street from this facility, and then there's another facility currently under construction just north of Mike Line's property. So it's that whole swath of land on Line Avenue that is currently under development, and I don't think we're asking for anything unusual. We're asking for, I think, like I said, probably I don't know that kindest is the right word, but that sort of the least intrusive type of development that you could have in a spot like that, backing up to a neighborhood. A very quiet office building with normal office hours. So.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Young?
My only comment was going to be in the other developments, and I don't know if Nancy, I don't think she was here for some of the other approvals that we did, because this is development, even though there's a ditch back there, it is a budding residential. They were using as much of the buildings as buffers for sound, and so that's why the buildings tend to be pushed to the back lot, and the parking tends to be up front.
That's a pretty big ditch, though.
Yeah, it's a big ditch, but there were still concerns from the original applicants early on, a year and a half ago. They were concerned that they wanted as much buffering as could, and the best way to do that is with a big building.
Yeah.
And put the parking up front. So in accommodation on the previous cases, that's what we did.
Okay.
So that started a trend of putting those buildings like that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Young. Any other questions, comments from the board? Staff?
What is your landscape strip depth from Line Avenue, the right-of-way of Line Avenue? How deep is that strip?
I think it's a 10-foot, well, we have a 5-foot front yard landscape strip. I have to borrow your glasses, 30 minutes.
So it is exactly what the ordinance requires, but it's
Yes,
not, because it looked like it was a little more than that, and I was trying to make sure.
I think what you're saying is that there's a, I think you're seeing the dashed line in there, and I think actually, if we're on the property line, from the back of the curve to the property line, it says 5 feet front yard landscape strip, but if you dimension it, it is actually a 10-foot front yard landscape strip.
Okay. So you do have more distance than the ordinance requires for
Yes,
the
sir.
landscaping in the
Yes,
front? Okay.
That it, Gene? Stephen?
That's
You
it.
okay?
I just wanted to
All right.
clarify that. It's what it looked like to me, but I just wanted to make sure.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else here would like to speak in favor of this application? Will you come forward at this time, please, and state your name and address for the record?
Cecile Coutre with Vintage Realty, 330 Marshall Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101. I represent Ms. Thurman in her purchase of this property, which we have under contract. And I wanted to point out something that we didn't mention. There's a 60-foot buffer between the back of the building, at least 60 feet right here for a drainage easement. So it does not abut the fence. Okay? Any other questions?
Thank you very much for that clarification. Is anyone else here who'd like to speak in favor of this application? In favor of this application? Opposition to this application? Opposition to this application? Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Mr. Andrews. Second by Mr. Carvin with steps.
By Mr. Young.
Yes, I'm waiting on Mr. Young and his steps.
Sure, why not? Steps at the staff approval of the elevations? Is that what I'm looking for? Yes,
Exterior building elevation.
Exterior building elevations.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Young. All in favor of the motion with step, press yes. Opposed, press no. Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving right along. The next case is case number C5614, 9015 Newcastle. State your name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon. Ann Dixon, Vintage Realty, 330 Marshall, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101. I'm here representing not only the the property owner, but as well as our tenant. This is an industrial building where we're asking that, in its I-1 zoning, that we're asking that we be allowed to use the property as a daycare center, an after-school tutoring facility. And this is a property that is located on Newcastle Drive. It runs between Flournoy Lucas Road, East Flournoy Lucas, and Burt Coons. It circles through and is a feeder road into the Newcastle subdivision. There's a tremendous number of residential houses in here. When my client bought this property several years ago, we had some concerns about truck traffic flowing through the Newcastle Drive, but the tenant at the time utilized only a right turn out of his property and took his trucks off into through Flournoy Lucas into the Burt Coons connector road. As that tenant left and this property became vacant, we were faced with a dilemma of who we were going to put into this building that would be a good neighbor, a good person that would integrate well into the subdivision. As you see, the house just to the south of this building is extremely close. It's separated by a wood fence. There is a retired pastor that lives in this house, and we were concerned about him as well as the houses across the street. And as we worked through the process of identifying a tenant, I was approached by our tenant prospect that we have now in talking with the owner to see if he would modify the building for use as a daycare. And the more we talked with this entity, we were impressed with what they had done, their history in this business. They have a very substantial track record in serving the children after school, mentoring them, as well as a full-scale daycare center. So we decided that this may be a very good fit. We've had our drawings drawn up, approved by the fire marshal, which will accommodate use as a daycare center. During our processes, we put together a list of the surrounding businesses of whom surrounding property owners of which all I have talked with and visited with, all were in approval of it with the exception of the one who has the vacant land here. There is an industrial property to the rear. Mr. Cviz, I believe, owns this. His property line goes to the tree line. I visited with he and his wife at length one day about this use as a daycare center. He was not objectionable to it. The only request he had is that we put a secondary wood fence across the rear to ensure that no children in the play area could access his storage yard, which we agreed to do. Our pastor that lives here is in agreement. The gentleman that lives in this house, who also was a school bus driver at the time, I think he's changed jobs now. He was totally agreeable to it. There are two parcels of land right here that are owned by Mr. William Brawls. I don't know what his intent for that property is, but I met with him. He absolutely had no objections for this property's use as a daycare center. And then this property that's put this up, it might show it a little bit better. Number 8 on the list is Riverbrook. This is an additional parcel of land that is owned by the building group that built the houses in Newcastle. Their intent is to, as the market returns in West Shreveport, to do additional housing development. So of course they're supporting the use of this property as a daycare center. We really think that this is an excellent use of this property. It has 2 curb cuts. The traffic can pull in one, and I've got a drawing. Let's see, let's go back to that original. Traffic flow can come in here, flow out, go right. There's the front doors are here. The children can enter here. The play yard will be fenced. We're going to give access according to the regulations of the fire marshal for the play yard, and we just think this is a beautiful property for this use. Much better use than it was as an industrial manufacturing property for its original design. I believe when this property was built, there wasn't the residential homes that we have in this area today. And with the glut of industrial properties that we have in West Shreveport as a result of the closure of our General Motors plant, this is just a very good reuse of this property.
Okay. Thank you very much. Stay there for a second, please. Mr. Young.
Mr. Jean, I understand how this was developed out in reverse order, meaning I-1 was there, then residential was built next to it. Is this the opportunity, would it be appropriate to look at downzoning it to B3 so the future use would not be in conflict with the residential next door as opposed to an I-1 next to residential? If it fulfills the requirement of the applicant at the same time?
The only question I have that was, sir, is we did not advertise this as a rezoning case. We only did this as an MPC approval case. That is a good question. I don't know. The applicant may enlighten us whether or not that was even discussed at all with us. I don't recall any such conversation. That's a good point, but I don't know that the way it was advertised, we can actually deal with it otherwise today.
Then I'm not going to complicate a one-car funeral, so I'm not going to go there, but it just seems like it's in reverse. Because it was developed out in reverse order and the I-1 was there before the residential was there, it would just seem like the opportune time to make sure that any future use next door to residential was not going to be as encumbering on the neighborhood. So, and it was their desire to go to B3 anyway, or at least a B3 category. But I'm not going to hold up a person's project because of it.
What the original pathway that was attempted on this was actually an administrative approval, and we lacked one signature in order for them to obtain administrative approval on this, and so there was just the evolution of it was just going to the board. So I don't know that there was ever actually any real study in regard to downzoning the property. I think you make a valid point. Just today, I don't think that we're in a position to do so.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Young.
I
Ms.
think,
Cooper.
I can't speak for the owner, and he is here if you'd like clarification. I think that would be agreeable, but it's not.
Before we move to that, let's hear from Ms. Cooper.
Mr. Jean, I'm looking at the photos, and I don't know what I'm looking at exactly, but there's a sign on this piece of property that says zoning change on it. I don't know if that's worth anything, but I'm just looking at the photos on our computer here.
Well, yes, and we understand that sign that goes out on the property does indicate that it's a generic sign that we use.
That's not enough advertising.
Yeah, I wish that was. We would actually have to have. We have a legal posting requirement, and unless I'm corrected here in a moment or two, we did not advertise this as a rezoning.
Like the bulletin board out there, it seems like it would be as adequate as that. So I just thought I would ask in case.
Okay. Gene, when you're talking about the advertising, in other words, the letter that went out.
No, sir. No, sir. The legal advertisement for an ordinance change, and then this would also require this to go on to City Council. This approval today, if you were to make this approval, that is the final approval. They can go and put their use into action. We go to zoning change, although I do not disagree with this, is a very appropriate buffer that could be from one use to the other, would require for us to advertise this and to get it posted in the legal journal, and that then we would be able to deal with it, and it would go on to council before the use would be allowed if it was a zoning change. This action, without downzoning, it does allow for it to be used immediately. If there's not an appeal filed, within 10 days, they can begin to take out a certificate of occupancy for this.
Okay.
If the construction was complete, obviously.
Okay. Thank you, Stephen. Mr. Colvin.
Stephen, on that note, if we did approve this today, but put the stipulation on it that it had to come back for a zoning change down to what Mr. Young wants to do to a B3, then she could come back. We'd approve it, but she could come back and get the B3, and then that would be approved, and then she could go forward. What he's saying is he don't want to leave it in I-1 right next to residential.
Well, my conversation was could it be done today? And if
I know
it can't be done today, I don't want to hold the applicant up if it's acceptable. But what I would encourage staff to do is maybe look at that in the future
Yes,
when
sir.
it's a reverse, to me, it's a reverse thing because the I-1 was there first, then the residential came up to it. Normally, we would not allow, we would take strong look at anybody wanting to put an industrial next to a residential.
Right.
You don't want to do that to people's houses.
No.
In this case, residential came up after the fact.
They grew to us.
So I was just looking as an opportune time, and in the future, we may look at any other cases as an opportune time, is like, because it was reversed and it went the opposite direction, is that the opportune time to look at it, what the applicant's trying to do to it, and downzone at that time.
Yes,
Since
sir, I
that's
think you
not what
may-
we're dealing with here, I don't want to hold up the applicant as far as that goes. It's not my intent.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, sir. I think we'll take
Mr.
that
hold on a
consideration
second.
moving forward.
Mr. Andrews?
He wasn't finished.
But Stephen, I'm sorry, were you finished?
I was just acknowledging that we would do that in the future.
In other words, in future?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have a comment.
All right, Mr. Andrews?
Before you take your seat,
Yes, sir.
the speech you just made, I'm going to get on my soapbox.
Okay,
I'm prejudiced towards West Shreveport,
okay.
and it appears month after month, we are faced with requests dealing with industrial developments in West Shreveport. And what you just stated is my opportunity to get on the soapbox. Because General Motors is closed and moved so much of our property out there, it appears that people with great ideas want to open industrial kinds of businesses out there, and they forget that some of us didn't leave with General Motors. There are a lot of people who are still there, and they're very much concerned about the development of West Shreveport. I visit with people in the West Shreveport Alliance organization who say West Shreveport is the last frontier for Shreveport.
Okay.
And it really is, because the Red River stops it on the other side. And after a while, the Parish will welcome everybody down that way. So thank you for making that observation from you and your company. And we would love to see more developments like this
Right.
moving into West Shreveport. I'm not going to mention restaurants and all that other stuff because everybody's already talked about that. But this kind of business, I think, would be really good.
Thank you. We believe so too. We think that this will facilitate additional residential development. You know, as we bring services into an area, then the homes come. Sometimes they come after the homes, but many times they come as a result of commercial development. So,
Thank you very much.
okay, thank you. Any other questions?
We good. Anyone else here would like to speak in favor of this application? Come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Janet Willis, 1629 Shepherd Drive, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71107. I've been with the company that's in question. I've opened here at Newcastle for about 8 years, and we've been in business for 15 plus years. And I must say that I believe that bringing this business into this neighborhood will be a great access. We're incorporating great tools and opportunities for children to come to a place where they'll be able to be loved and cared for, and to provide, the educational tools that they need to move forward, in their future. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else here would like to speak in favor of this application?
Oh, good afternoon. My name is Herb Meadows, 2480 Bensville in Bossier City, 71112. I've been associated with the Commerce Child Care Center for the past 16 years, and we've seen a lot. We've gone through a lot, but this particular facility that we're talking about right now, this offers one of the best opportunities for the children that we serve. And as I said, we've served the children, the daycare families of Shreveport, Bossier for the past 16 years, and we could not find a better facility that will provide the security, that'll provide the venue for the parents in Newcastle. As a matter of fact, we serve quite a large number of parents in Newcastle at this time, and of course there's surrounding areas off of Pines Road and Jewella, you name it. And I think this is going to be a wonderful opportunity for us to continue our service to the children of Shreveport and Bossier. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Colvin?
I have a quick question, sir.
Sir, you mind coming back up?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate your time. How long has it been vacant, do you know? this particular building?
I am not absolutely sure the time that this particular building has been vacant. I think Ms. Ann could address that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has been vacant about a year and a half.
Okay. Do you know what they did there before?
Yes, sir.
What they do before they're not building?
I think it was a wood testing facility, I believe, or something of that nature. Yeah.
They tested wood with water to see how much water pressure it could.
Thank you.
And they closed this office and moved out of town, so.
Okay. Okay.
Or this,
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Carver. Any other questions? Anyone else here would like to speak in favor of this application? In favor of the application? In opposition to the application? If not?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Andrews for approval, second by Ms. Smith. All in favor, vote yes. Opposed, vote no. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, the next case is C 5714, 2700 Quentin. Come forward, please, and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Emily Anderson Cabara. I live at 3734 Powell, Shreveport, Louisiana.
Okay. You like to make a statement?
I'd like to open up a snow cone stand on the corner of Quentin and Hearn.
Okay. All right, just stay there for a second. Any questions or comments from the board or staff? Stephen, did you have any issues here?
No, sir, I just call your attention to the staff report. You've had a similar request here before. And I think it would be, before you deliberate, to just look very closely at the land use around it and factor that into your deliberations. There was a suggestion in previous case to an extended use district, so I think that, has anybody ever talked to you about what an extended use district before?
No, I don't know what
Okay,
that
I'm gonna do my best to explain what that is. An extended use district is when